Hashtag third best Star Wars film. I'm James Rosile, joined with Brock
Solo.
Brock Solo. I am the Chewie to his. I'm not really. I'm more like the R2 to your. I'm like the Jabba to your Han Solo more than anything.
Jabba no Bada.
Third best Star Wars film. The trailer dropped, the teaser dropped, and then the teaser dropped. We got a double dose of teaser. We're gonna.
And we had to watch sports.
You got to. Well, you were. I think you were. Well, you made something during sports.
I did.
Can we see that?
I did arts and crafts during sports.
It is a red Solo cup.
Official Han Solo. I don't know if you've seen these Solo cups. They've taken on how people write names on their cups so it doesn't get mixed up. You tear off this thing and then you just scratch in or write.
Oh, okay. No, I have not seen
and
that.
And it says Solo on it already because it's a Solo cup.
It's a Solo cup.
Han Solo. These could be yours if you just buy the cup.
We do have a contest.
Or we'll sell it.
We're going to have a contest, not for the cup, for something else. Later on in the show, you'll get that details all in a little bit. People that are listening have no idea what you're doing right now, Brock. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Solo, obviously. Big week in Star Wars land this week.
Yes.
You watched it for the first time.
I watched it first. Han.
Oh, so 2 Solo trailers. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
We were speculating for weeks now. Great marketing.
I can't believe they did it during the Super Bowl, but they did it right, I think. It was... Some people at the Super Bowl party I attended was like, that's it? And I'm like, yes, it's a teaser trailer. Now you will watch the thing tomorrow.
At the end of the one that aired here in Canada,
Canada.
Did it say trailer tomorrow?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it when I saw it on air.
I can't remember now.
I noticed it for those that watch. I noticed it. I did a video with Andrew we recorded it during the halftime show. Yeah. But we aired it later. But I noticed it during that. I was watching while we were talking, and I noticed it then. I didn't notice before. So people brought it up like, oh, you didn't notice it. So I know in the United States it was there, but I'm not sure if we got that or not. I don't see why we wouldn't. I
can't even remember because I was in a glass case of emotion when it happened.
That was filled with pure vodka.
Pure vodka.
But, okay, so a huge week. We got the 1-2 punch of the Solo trailers. Yep. Then we got yesterday, I was on the computer getting some stuff ready for the show.
He was on the computer.
Yeah, getting stuff ready for the show. And all of a sudden, I see out the corner of my eye, Star Wars show breaking news. And I was like, well, is that old? And I clicked on it. And then the creators of Game of Thrones are doing Star Wars, and I was like, "What?" So we did a news, like a breaking news video. So thanks for watching that. And then I go to the gym, just so everyone knows.
Oh, he went to the gym.
True story, guys. I am fat. I am running a 10K. So in miles, that's like 3.9. I don't know what that is in miles.
Math.
But I'm doing 10 kilometers in May. I'm running it. It's for charity. I'm scared. I've done it before, but I don't think I've been this. Anyway, I'm doing it. So I was at the gym, training like this.
Oh,
because it's
work.
I was and it was painful.
I don't want it.
And then I get home from the gym and Josh sends me a message from the Den of Nerds. He sends me a message, dude. This news is crazy. And I'm like, we've already talked about it. And then he goes, no, multiple TV series are in development for their streaming service. And I was like, Brock, our rundown for tomorrow is just rip it up and throw it out.
TV, movies, Han Solo.
And then today, you send me an Instagram message.
Yes. EW, or as you magazine heads like to call it, Entertainment Weekly. Why would you not call it EW if you're a magazine head? Yeah, so I was a little... It was awesome. I mean, obviously, these pictures dropping are cool. Entertainment Weekly has gotten it right with showing exclusives from these Star Wars movies. My only complaint is, like, couldn't we have waited a couple weeks? But it's exciting to get new content every day. Looks great. I don't think anything really revealed anything extra.
No, you wonder if, like you just said, look, the closer we get to May, first, the more movies are coming out with it.
Yep.
Secondly... they're going off the hype over the teasers that come out. But also, there might be more that we get to see in May. Because I think with the Last Jedi, we got quite a bit. I can't remember Rogue One. What we got for Rogue One, I can't quite remember. But, yeah, you sent me that. Those pictures are phenomenal. And you know what? I'm loving the clean Falcon. loving it.
Oh, yeah.
Like a McDonald's.
Looking Falcon good.
I love because we've seen the outside of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, it's weird. It's muzzled up at the top, and it's white, and it's got blue streaks on it.
Yeah.
And we're like, it looks fresh. And then you see the inside, and you're like, it looks fresh. And
yeah. Panels are still there.
Yeah, I mean, Han made modifications.
Yeah.
Or
just did not fix things, really.
But look, Bob Iger also said this movie takes place over 6 years.
Yeah.
So we could be seeing the Falcon at year 1.
Yeah.
And then by year 6, it has gone through hell. I have a 8-year-old truck, and it if I did a comparison, it'd be very on par with the Falcon. You were very quick to agree. Very on par.
Well, I compare my minivan, which is a lovely champagne tan, to the Millennium Falcon because it's a Grand Caravan and has the stowaway seats. So when they don't stow away, they're just an empty compartment. I'm like, this is where I could hide my Obi-Wan and droids, and this is where I would hide all my spices and then dump them because the Imperials show up. Because it's that's a part of the Millennium Falcon.
Is that part of the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Okay, we're going to go into Solo and the trailer in a little bit, but I have a question for you. The Kessel Run. Do you think we are going to see the Kessel Run? And if we do, which it looks like we will, are we going to see Han Solo run it in 12 parsecs? Another 12 parsecs? Or is that going to be a fib that he tells?
I think it's definitely going to come up. I mean, we know we're going to Kessel. I honestly was just rereading what the Kessel Run was on the internet, and now that's all old canon. It's now legends. It's basically a path in hyperspace that would run. That's like smugglers would use to run spice. So, like, I don't know why. I think I've always known that, but I've always confused it as like it's a race of some sort. But it's not really a race. It's just it's like a smuggling run. But the reason I looked it up was because at the end of the trailer, which is like of Han Solo, we see like they're escaping some TIE fighters, and they're like, oh, they're good. That worked out. And then all of a sudden, there's like a tentacle monster of some sort, and he's like, oh, I was like, is this the Kessel Run?
No,
exactly, because it's hyperspace, right? Like stuff like that doesn't tend to happen, though. I feel like there has been mention of like things living in hyperspace tunnels. Yeah, I don't know if I would like that, but to answer your initial question, yeah, I think we'll get something. Though, if there was a second Han Solo, I've always said this, it would be amazing to start the movie with it. But
I think that moment that you're talking about, that we're doing a top five moments from the two teasers. Yep. And I think that moment that you're referring to is the moment in A New Hope when Han Solo says to Obi-Wan Kenobi, "I have outrun Imperial Star Destroyers, not the local ships, the Corellian big things." I think that's what he's referring to. So anyway, before we get the show fully started, because there's so much to talk about, we want to tell you about our February content. Next week is our week of Reylo.
Oh boy.
We'll be doing a podcast on Reylo. We're going to have the Den of Nerds on talking about Reylo, because I don't know if you know this about the Den of Nerds, but if you type in the Den of Nerds on YouTube, two things come up: the Den of Nerds and the Den of Nerds Reylo.
Really?
For real. It is a thing. So Josh is going to come on and talk about Reylo. He could go on for hours, and he has, about Reylo. And I want to pick his brain about Reylo. Because it is a thing that it's very divided. Some people are very much in favor of it, and some of it hate it, and some people believe it happened and will not come back. And so we're going to dive deep into that. But we're also going to have fun because it's Valentine's Day next week.
Aw.
You need a date.
3 dudes just chatting it up about Valentine's Day.
Can't be
romantic.
Can't be beat. It's Reylo week. I think the Vote No Confidence will also be Reylo related, and Andrew Fantasia will do a Reylo as well. It's just
he'll do a Reylo.
He'll do a Reylo.
Hey, you want to do a Reylo?
And also, guys, please check out. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And
yes.
If you like Star Wars, please subscribe to this channel I keep forgetting to ask you that off the top of every show.
Subscribe to this channel.
Subscribe.
Do it now. Stop. Pause the podcast and subscribe now. Then restart.
I was paused.
We'll wait it.
Okay, so if you're on iTunes, please give us a star rating. If you can give us the full 5, that would be phenomenal.
Yep.
But if you feel that we're only worth 4, that's also fine. Anything else is not a vote. I'm just... It's anything works. And write a review if you could. That'd also be great. It helps us out greatly.
Yep.
Also, please check us out on
Patreon. We are on patreon.com.
We are. Do you know what the tiers are, Brock?
Just search for Rebel Scum Podcast and you'll know.
Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast.
5 tiers. Tier 1.
There's 5?
4 tiers.
4 tiers.
Tier 1. For $1, you get early access and our soon-to-be new show, Cloning Around, which is where we talk about Clone Wars.
We're very close to starting that, guys.
We're very close.
I know people that are excited for it. It is coming. We promise you. We just want to make
the
sure
hype is real. Tier 2, $2. You get all tiers get everything prior to it. So Tier 2 gets the Star Wars documentary that our own Andrew Fantasia, though we hate him very much, is working on a documentary called Star Wars. Does he have a title? He has a title, doesn't it?
We don't have a title yet.
He does not have a title. Untitled documentary. Tier 3, $3. You get all that. Plus, if you have theories, if you have suggestions for top 5, or never tell me the odds, we will read them on the air. No. We will read them on the show, and we will give you a shout-out.
Yeah, big time.
Shout-out to my homies. Tier 4. For a grand total of $10, you get all before, and you will be able to be on a show of your choice, be Scavenger Scum, Duel of the Fates, or Vote of No Confidence, whatever.
And Duel of the Fates with a Patreon's own Dan Allen is up right now. Check that out. He takes on Andrew Fantasia. Who knows Star Wars more? I'll give you a hint. It is not Dark Lord.
Yeah, Dan had a lot of fun, so you be like Dan and be on our shows.
Be on our show.
Yep.
And also, every single person that is on Patreon right now from Tier 1 to Tier 4 is entered into a draw.
Enrolled into Xavier's Academy of
to
Gifted
win
Youngsters.
The Last Jedi Blu-ray.
What? I want to win that, James.
You can't.
Oh.
You are purchasing it.
Oh.
And you know what we should do? We should buy the Canadian Blu-ray version with the French on it and ship it to you. Then it's like a souvenir.
It won't work in your American Blu-ray players.
That's not how it works. But
no, we're the same region.
I bought a movie in Queens, New York once.
Queens, hey!
I brought it up and I typed in the digital copy, and the code didn't work on the Canadian store. I had to go to the American store and do it. I'm just joking. We'll get a copy that won't have the French, unless you want that one. If you want that one, let me know, because it might be cheaper to buy the Canadian copy. Because our dollar is so bad that if this copy is $19.99 and their copy is $19.99,
yeah,
then it'd be cheaper to buy it. But you know what? It has all the same features on it, but you can also get it. But anyway, that's how. Everyone in Patreon is entered to win.
Yeah.
The Last Jedi Blu-ray. All right, moving on to Brock's favorite part of the show. Ooh, Star Wars is coming. 2 dots, not 3.
Why is this my favorite?
Because you like the Game of Thrones shows.
Oh, I see. And that was a terrible pun. Gotcha. I would have gone with Hoth is coming, or Winter is coming.
What? Well, no, Star Wars is coming. So Star Wars is dead has been something I've read on a lot of the comments lately. Star Wars
is not dead.
Star Wars is dead. The Han Solo trailer drop, we're going to talk about that later. And then this news dropped. When did you hear about this?
When you did that video. No, I think I read. I have this tendency to just read titles of articles and not actually read the full thing. So I believe I saw something yesterday morning. Days are running into each other because I've been working crazy hours. And I was like, oh, cool. That's exciting. I mean, I love Game of Thrones, so it's a knockout of the park that these guys, it's Benioff and D.B. Weiss is their names. That's how tired I am. Yeah, should be great. I mean, people do not have faith in Star Wars, which is silly. So let's give them the guys behind one of the biggest shows on TV right now. That's a smart move.
I've been saying for a long time that Marvel operates the same way, but the way Star Wars is, and I think we first talked about this when Lord and Miller were fired from Solo.
Yep.
Is these operate more like a TV series than a film franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And getting TV guys in there who understand how it works, who can play with a studio.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to speak too soon, obviously, but it seems like a match made in heaven. Unless, of course, what they pitch ends up being something completely opposite. Like if they pitch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then, look, Lucasfilm has to say, whoa, no nudity. We don't need that.
That's like, well, now we will have boobs in space. I'm like, well.
No, I think they're total. I think if you heard what Kathleen Kennedy said and what they both said in their joint statement, they are Star Wars fans. They know what Star Wars is. Yeah. And the only comparison you can make is at some point they were Game of Thrones fans, I would imagine, and they developed Game of Thrones into a TV show.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important part to remember is they didn't make a version of Game of Thrones that didn't make sense for Game of Thrones. They could have done, gone. We were talking about, before we started out, Wesley Snipes talking about doing Black Panther in the 90s. Before we got on. And how, it was totally out of left field with the pitch that John Singleton gave to him. Yeah. For that, it was completely. Hollywood Reporter has that. Check it out. It's an interesting read. But they could have done that easily. Been like, well, this is Game of Thrones, but it's our Game of Thrones. We're going to do what we want. Yeah. It seems more like they respect the material because they enjoy the material and they understand what works in the material. Yeah. And they were developing seasons without a complete book.
Correct. Right? They know world building. That's simple. I mean, they followed the books as religiously as they can, and then they added new things that kind of fit with it. And of course, they caught up with George R.R. Martin. Why do all these fantasy authors have these random names? George R.R. Martin, who is notorious for not having his books ready in time. They got past him, and we don't know what the next couple books in that series are going to be like, but watching the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones was like, yes, this feels right. And there are moments where you're like, feels like fan service. But again, a lot of it was great. And it's a perfect example of once we're loyal to the subject matter, we know how to build a world and a whole universe, and then we can take it, and even though George R. R. Martin said, yeah, okay, this and this and this is what you can do, they still kind of create a thing that's like, wow, that was fun. So yeah, I mean,
I think fan service is important from time to time because The Last Jedi showed us something.
Yeah,
you can piss a lot of people off. Rightfully or wrong, either way, you could piss a lot of people off, and then you can do fan service with the Solo trailer and still piss people off because people are just whatever. But fan service is nice once in a while. But Star Wars, I was saying to somebody online today, is Star Wars. It shouldn't be similar. It should be familiar. Yeah, and there should be a line there. And I think what you're saying, and I think fan service sometimes fits in that line. And you could teeter either way on the rope, but I think that's what it is. And you need to be familiar with Star Wars. And I'm completely excited for this for multiple reasons. Like I said, they are TV people. They understand how it works. They have, HBO is their boss. They have to do what HBO says. If they say something and HBO says no, that's not how we want to go. Yeah. They need that, and that's Kathleen Kennedy. I also feel there's a vote of no confidence. Should Kathleen Kennedy be replaced? Which is kind of ridiculous, but should she be replaced? And obviously, the people that comment, I'll say hell yes, because those are the people that comment. Yeah. And as soon as I saw the video on Star Wars show, I just pictured Kathleen Kennedy looking at that video with the middle finger up. Just being like, oh yeah? Oh, yeah, she is a genius.
Yeah, and then lights $100 bill.
Yeah,
and
$100,000.
$1,000, and then light her cigar.
Probably.
It's good to be king.
George, go get me a coffee.
Hey, George, get me a Coke Zero.
It's my Coke Zero. She's a genius. Yeah. This is like, oh, you got Rian Johnson.
Yep.
Take a trilogy. Ooh, I popped. Take a trilogy. Okay, everyone hates you, but you're still going to do 3 movies.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because everyone hates you. But guess who else loves you? Everyone else loves you.
Yeah.
Do a trilogy. It's Star Wars, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
We got Solo coming out. We got Episode 9 coming out. Obi-Wan, we're going to talk about that later. Who knows what's going on with that. But then it's like, oh, you know what? Everyone loves Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is wrapping up.
Yep.
If I hire them, I dare you to bitch. I hate to say that word. About Kathleen Kennedy right now.
Yeah.
After that move. I dare you.
You're getting all the heavy hitters on your team.
You couldn't ask for, it's just the #1 show on TV.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Has been 7 years now?
Yep.
Which season's coming up?
I don't know, what is the #1? It's definitely high up there, and it's the show that everyone's been talking about. And we're talking people, again, not just fans of, the Game of Thrones series, the Song of Fire and Ice. It's everyone. Everyone's watching the show. My roommate Joe has never read any of the books, and he just got into the show because it was he saw me watch it every Sunday night, and he watched 5 seasons in a week, and then caught up to season 6. But that's to say that a show about guys in armor and swords and there's bastards and I mean, you could just say it's the HBO formula, the HBO spell that just gets woven over a lot of people, but it's very fun to watch, and it's also the show that has been shocking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even though if you've read the book, The Red Wedding was I know this is going to happen, but that was shocking to a lot of people. So
people don't. Yeah, not everybody reads. The books are 9 billion pages long.
Exactly.
I think this is brilliant. Okay, we're going to talk about the TV shows and the solo stuff. But so the #1 thing when this is announced, the #1 thing everyone's like, Old Republic. You got to go. But for me, I always thought Old Republic would work better as the TV series. But now when you look at it, you have to think, okay, we don't know where their head's at and what they want to do. But if Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm are we need to do an Old Republic series, who better to get for that?
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do Old Republic on your streaming service because the cost might be too high, because look, the Disney streaming service, they're going to throw all the money they can at Star Wars, but at the same time, they're not going to be making Netflix money in their first year.
No.
They're not going to have the budget to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So right away, are they going to be wow, we really want to do Old Republic, but we can't. So all of a sudden they do a film series on it. Rian Johnson's doing his thing, which takes place whenever. And now you got these guys, and you can be do you want to give us a series?
Yep.
Not a trilogy, not 2, maybe 7, maybe 9, maybe whatever. Old Republic. Can you put that together for us?
Yeah. I don't see why not. Because it's what you need to do is just have a cast of characters that are engaging, and then just create a world around it, right? I know that's a pretty mundane thing to say, but that's all you have to do. And then once you're okay, that's what a droid looks like, that's what a gun looks like, that's what a ship looks like. Yeah, let's go. And he's oh, and here's a Jedi for you, and he has a purple lightsaber. No, that's not exciting enough. It's a yellow lightsaber, but it's a whip. And then you're I'm in. Cool. Yeah. And here's a crazy Darth Vader looking Sith.
I was when I did that announcement video yesterday, I was so in shock. It was funny because I read it and nobody was around. It was just, I was alone. I'm where is everybody? I had nothing to say because I was so speechless. Because the Rian Johnson one, when we heard it, we're well, this is anything is possible. Now with this one, it's well, anything is possible, but Old Republic is probable.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson's Old Republic was not probable because he said right off the bat, it is in a time and place we have never explored before. And this one just said it's brand new. Old Republic could be brand new. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the Old Republic that we know, but it could be an old, it can't be before the prequels, like right before the prequels, because everything is clean and neat.
Yeah.
And it could be now, like after the sequel trilogy, but things are kind of getting back on track, you know? And then in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, even then it's like, well, everything, like if you read Bloodline, you get the sense that the prequel era style is coming back. Even with Holdo, you get that feeling that things are coming back. But if you rewind the clocks 1,000 years, all of a sudden everything can be old and lived in again.
Yeah.
And that is where the Game of Thrones visuals would really flourish.
Mm-hmm. My question is, though, do they want to do that? It's a good choice, but it's also what fans want. And do they just abide by what? And I'm not trying to be mean about it, but like, I find that even though I just mentioned fan service with Game of Thrones, I feel like the big executives or the people behind all this aren't doing it because they think the fans want it. They there's something more to it. It's like, well, the fans want it, so let's go do it. And would that kind of hurt your creativity if you're like, well, we have to make this now because they demand it, you know, like they had a thing for it. Like, I'm all for it. My worry, though, too, is that, like, Game of Thrones is an excellent series. Those guys are at the main helm, but does that mean, will that translate? I don't know. I mean, everyone can fail. Like, it's, my worry is you put in these heavy hitters and, like, the hype overwhelms the actual product.
Unless, what I am not sure of, and it hasn't come out, and this is what I'm interested in. Who went to who? Whom went to whom? Did Kathleen Kennedy approach them, or did they approach Lucasfilm?
Yeah.
Which way did it go? Do they have an idea for Star Wars, or were they handed Star Wars and said, would you like this? And that's what I want to know. And yeah, you know what? They lived in this Game of Thrones world for so long that maybe they don't want to do that anymore. Maybe they want to have, you know, the prequel era Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, from it doesn't sound like they want the 1977 Star Wars, obviously. But you know what I mean? Like, who's to say?
Yeah, well, let's see. That's a good question because there's for months been talk about spin-off shows for Game of Thrones, so something existing in that like universe. That doesn't necessarily need those two guys to be around, but like, I wonder. I mean, I don't know Hollywood. Do you know Hollywood?
Yeah, she lives on my street.
Yeah, because like we get little bits and pieces here, but like we don't know what's really happening. Like all the information that we're getting could have been months in development. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess like Game of Thrones, like I just said, it's like just because you were successful with one thing doesn't mean the next thing will be. So spin-offs with those two guys at the helm of Game of Thrones is like, maybe this won't work. But they will make it because like people will watch it. You know what I mean? It's like I say with Star Wars. It's like you could hate Star Wars, but until it flops 5 times, they're not going to stop making these movies. And Last Jedi, a lot of people hate it, but made $1 billion. So, but maybe creatively, like, well, we want to go Star Wars. Like the article says, they love Star Wars. I feel like that's not that shouldn't be a prerequisite anymore because it's like, what person in their 30s and 40s that is creative, like that likes to tell stories, doesn't like Star Wars? I'm sure they exist, but you know what I mean? They're like.
Yeah, but I think it says something to somebody that wants to go in there and play in the sandbox. Yeah. And I said this, I think, last week about Rian Johnson, where he broke the rules, but I think he at least he felt, and Lucasfilm agreed with him that he and Disney also felt like he was allowed to break the rules because he understood and respected the rules. Yeah. And the only time you can break a rule is when you know it well. And I think when you bring Star Wars fans in, and we were talking about this with Mortis the other week, where Mortis, I don't see Mortis coming into a TV show, but all of a sudden, when the kids that grew up watching the Clone Wars, they become the ones making the films, then you can go, hey, I want to bring Mortis into a film because that was a freaking cool arc and things like that. So I think it's cool. Like, you don't want someone with no passion to come in. You want somebody with some kind of drive. Like, you know what, somebody that comes in and says, you know what, I grew up with Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love Star Wars. I'm talented because they're conceited. Not the Game of Thrones guys, just the people that and they're like, look, I'm talented. I have a great idea for a Star Wars story. And look, it's no different from you having your Star Wars story listening to this either. Like, these are just people with agents. But they have an idea, they pitch it, and they're like, yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see, like, Old Republic is great. It's interesting, and then you could also explore Mortis. But then the question is, like, well, are people wanting Old Navy, Old Republic because they like that era of Star Wars, the characters, just what the galaxy looks like at the time, or do they want the storyline? Do we want Darth Revan and Darth Malak? Like, why? Because you've already told that story. But one of the cool things about TV right now that's following these fan culture things like Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, there's probably, I can't think, those two always stand out to me because they took source material and went kind of past it. Game of Thrones crushed at it, and Walking Dead had its moments and has kind of flopped. But that idea is always interesting to me because I like both those things. I've read the source material, and I was psyched when they became TV shows. But I do like to be surprised on occasion. So, like, why would I want to watch something I've already read? So, again, like, it's... Old Republic is a great move, but then, yeah, like, Mortis is a very interesting... What if it was a show exploring more Jedi lore or the lore of Force, not even focusing on the Jedi? Like, it could be something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah.
Who knows? That's the thing. And look, this isn't going to start till Game of Thrones is finished.
Exactly.
So they have another year till they can even begin thinking about this. In that time, you have Rian Johnson working on his because he hasn't even started working on his yet. Then you have Solo, Episode 9. And then, like we said, who the heck knows what's going on with Obi-Wan? Who knows what's going on with the Boba Fett films? But I'll tell you what, though, if this isn't... if this isn't Old Republic, though, and Rian Johnson is doing what he wants to do, and people are so adamantly in hate with him, then I think Obi-Wan and Boba Fett are the fan service that you need in between. Because the thing is, look, you take a chance, like you did with The Last Jedi, you take a chance, you're like, well, this is not quite... We'll see. You take a chance, and then you come back with Solo.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, you did it. Well, half people hate it, half of them love it. Okay, here's Solo. Calm down.
Yep.
Then you're gonna take another chance, and like, okay, here's Obi-Wan. Calm down. and that's how you do it. You just feed it, because your fan service comes in every once in a while, because you have that, because you are Star Wars, and like you have all the ingredients to make everybody happy. But at the same time, if you don't do something new and you don't try, even if you fail, like some people feel The Last Jedi failed, but even if you fail, you still have to try to take this franchise to the next level. Because otherwise it is going to get stale, especially with what we're about to talk about now, because there are multiple TV shows coming from Star Wars, which I said makes complete sense before we did it. We were having this conversation too, because we have Solo in May, and then a year and a half we get Episode 9. But in a year after Solo, a year and a couple months after Solo, we get our first glimpse at something streaming on the streaming service in 2019. That could tide us over between 9. Yeah,
I mean, it would be cool. If it linked, that would be cool. Or just, I don't know. I think... I always like the idea of linking things together. I mean, they kind of did it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Marvel movies, but they did a lot more with the Marvel stuff. Not to compare it to Marvel constantly, but with like Daredevil and Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist. Obviously, they all tend to cross paths at some point in their shows, but then you get characters like... the Night Nurse, what's her actual name? Misty Knight. I think there's other people throughout that cross that idea of just interchanging. And so, like, you could have a show that introduces a character that might be big in the show or is enough to be remembered, and then all of a sudden you have a new movie and there's like, hi, and then walks out. Like, doesn't have any effect on the movies per se, but you're like, oh, that's very cool. I think that's something that could happen because once they come up with an idea, and not to criticize anyone, but like once they have an idea that people are like, ooh, that's very cool, they'll use it again. It's a very possible.
I'll tell you why I don't think that's going to happen.
Why?
Because they don't see the one flaw. There's more than one, but the one flaw I'll bring up is they don't seem to know what's happening next. Like everything is like made up on the fly. So they're like, this TV show's gonna tie into it. Tie into what? You don't know what. Game of Thrones. You're announcing Game of Thrones. You're announcing Rian Johnson, but based on what? Both of those announcements had the same nothingness to them. Mm-hmm. Cool.
This is all because the Skywalker saga has to be so what's the word? Over? It's over. Yeah, no. It's like it's so important that we don't do anything or reveal anything. Like I hope that the new saga is like, yes, I want an exciting story. I want to be surprised. I want to be won over every time I go to that theater. But if you like start talking about like characters after a movie comes out, in between or something like that, it's not gonna ruin anybody's day. Cause like just because Darth Vader is Luke's father it's an amazing ending, doesn't make the whole movie. Like Empire is a good movie because like, hey, look, we're on a snow planet now. I'm in a swamp with a gremlin. Like that's kind of cool. Like that alone can sell that movie.
They could have done so much. Like, look, Ben Solo is Han Solo's son, and he's Kylo Ren. There's not even a twist in the movie. That information could have been let out way before the movie came out. Yeah. We don't know anything about Luke Skywalker, and then when we get him, it's not the Luke anybody wants. Explain why he's that Luke Skywalker to the people that don't like it, that can't understand it. Get us to that point. It's not that, and it doesn't ruin anything. It'll enhance, and no one will. They're so at times too worried about being secretive. And it's not about that. Look, don't tell me that Vader is Luke's father, but tell me a story about Vader. I don't want to film about Vader. Look, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. But you know, like if we're in 1980 right now, I'm like in 1989, give me a book about Vader. Yeah. If this was the same type of thing, we got Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which is even more amazing because Luke and Leia have sex.
Which
is very Games of Thrones.
This is kind of a side act bar, but equates to that. And I think what I was saying before, it's like the Skywalker saga has to be so pristine, and it has to be perfect, and blah blah blah. I think the problem with that, and that's not a bad thing to think, but the problem is the fans love this story so much that it's like you got to appease them, which in most movies is what you're going up. But it's like Star Wars fan has this new level. Because not only are you having to fight with what the old movies were, you have to fight with the expanded universe. And I have a realization with this with Luke, but that's a more played out thing that I might explore later. But Boba Fett is a perfect example. Boba Fett is in Empire and Return of the Jedi for the 15 minutes in total.
He's now in A New Hope.
And A New Hope.
And the holiday special.
Doesn't count. I know it's canon, but it doesn't in this. But just the original movies, and I will count the addition into New Hope. He says what, 4 or 5 lines. There's no character development. He's very cool, and he is a plot device to get you here to there. But like, I think it hit me when I saw the Han Solo posters came out with the trailer the next day. Amazing. And then of course people go and do their editing, and they did it Boba Fett, and they're like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? I'm like, why though? There is no connection between Han Solo and Boba Fett. Besides that, Boba Fett is the one that captures him. There doesn't seem to be a personal vendetta. They probably know each other because they come from the same environment, and he works for Jabba. They both work for Jabba, but there's really not. But people would love Boba Fett to be in that Han Solo movie and a showdown. Do you disagree?
I've done a couple videos with Josh.
I don't watch ours.
He is all about Boba
But you know
Fett
what I mean? But the fan love for Boba Fett is what's created that, like, we have to put him in. He is a third-rate character. Sorry. But that enmity that they've created is all expanded universe, to my knowledge, where it's like, oh, that would be... And it is cool. I would love that, but... when you look at the movies by themselves as they were originally supposed to be, it's like there's no reason to put that stuff. So that is the problem they always have to face, where it's like, we have been thinking about this for 30 years until you gave us a new movie. Well, less because of the prequels. But like, people have seen there, it's like, well, then this could happen, and this could happen, and that could happen. And it's like, you can't satisfy that imagination, which is great, but like, sorry.
Star Wars will always be steps behind.
Oh God, yes.
Always, you can't catch up. But they are doing the multiple shows. I'm hoping maybe a seedy Underworld. When are you bring Boba Fett into that? A seedy Underworld.
Exactly.
One?
See, I can't see a Boba Fett run movie, but I can see a movie with Boba Fett in it.
I just think the Boba Fett movie would make sense if you are going to take chances. You have to do the fan service in between.
Sure, no,
and that's
true.
You got to weave it, right? So you're like Game of Thrones nudity, and then that won't happen.
Can you imagine a movie?
Absolutely not.
Imagine it, a movie where the main character is known for wearing a helmet the whole time. Obviously, it would come off.
Yeah, it's called Iron Man.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then you can't take it off because then it's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so multiple shows on the horizon. I'm kind of excited for that because, again, it could be anything. Now, are they going to be a single season? Are they going to be multiple seasons? We don't know. It's still very, very early, but I think Underworld is where you want. I think that's where you want to go with this.
That'd be cool.
Because, I mean, if you compare it again to Marvel on Netflix, that's where they kind of went, and I think Disney might feel confident in that and comfortable in doing that.
Yep.
And they might look. I know it's Lucasfilm, not Disney, and so Disney would say, "Hey, Lucasfilm, we're comfortable, and confident with doing this. We really think you should maybe stick to something a little grittier." And then they can say, "Well, we have 200 scripts of that TV show that George Lucas was doing," and then they rip them up, light them on fire, throw them, and they say, "Hey, Rian Johnson, come in here." No, but there are so many avenues to explore on TV series, and if the Game of Thrones guys are not doing Old Republic, maybe the TV show's the Old Republic.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever a TV series is, though, it needs to be something solid enough where you can go multiple seasons of. At least 4, I would think.
Yeah. You're right. Like, we need to go and change what the status quo is, or we need to take chances, because the original trilogy, a lot of people would just that there's nothing's better than that. Nothing is better. It is the be all end all. But like, that's not gonna work. Like, we gotta continue to make content. Some of it's gonna be better, or some of it's gonna just not be comparable at all. So like, I don't know. Just let it go.
There are a lot of people though that do say nothing will ever be as good as the original 3, and. Return to Jedi is my favorite of them all, and a large portion of that is obviously nostalgia factor.
Yeah,
but at some point, I'm confident that I'm going to see one that I'm going to say that might be my favorite. Now, look, it's going to be the Solo movie. It has to be. But let's
third best movie.
But third best Star Wars movie. But let's say I go into Solo and I'm like, that was amazing. Like, your Last Jedi is your favorite right now.
Yeah, just because I like to be subversive.
But it might not. But the thing is, I would love to go into a movie, and I'm hoping it's Solo, and be like, this is now my favorite Star Wars movie. Then guess what? In 3 months, it's back to Return of the Jedi. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I've had 36 years of Return of the Jedi in my life. I haven't had 30 plus years of any of the other ones in my life. So that's always going to play a factor.
Exactly.
But in 5 years, maybe Force Awakens is my favorite Star Wars movie. Maybe it's Han Solo. Maybe it's Last Jedi. Maybe it's Rogue One. Rogue One, though, is actually one that is creeping up my list.
And you're someone that's just like, I want to watch this movie. So like, that's the thing. It's like, does it matter which one is better, or is it bad? Is like the movie truly a success when you just want to watch something multiple times? That's
what I would say.
Yeah.
And that's how, when we do our ranking, watch it. That's how I do it. It's like, which one. If I'm watching Star Wars right now, which one am I watching? And that's how I did my
Especially in a day where, like, we have TV shows at our fingertips constantly, where we get like, I watched it. I binged it. Now I'm done. Like, how often do you rewatch? You're not going to have an answer, but something like Daredevil. I love Daredevil. Have I watched it again? No.
I've watched the first 5 episodes of Daredevil season 1.
Yeah.
And then I have seen none of season 2. I'm a huge Punisher fan. I have not seen Punisher yet. I have not seen
Jessica Jones.
And I have not seen
Iron Fist.
And I have not seen
Defenders.
And there's more. And I have not seen those either. But I love Stranger Things.
Yeah. And there's a perfect example of taking chances. Also, we live in a world where Happy, the comic about a crazy cop that can see a blue imaginary friend, is on TV. And it's an excellent show. I don't know how it's doing rating-wise. I enjoy it thoroughly. So
I saw a commercial once, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but it looks phenomenal.
It is. Chris Maloney kills it. So definitely watch that.
He is underrated in Man of Steel.
Oh.
By the way, Man of Steel, phenomenal. Also phenomenal.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's move on to the third best Star Wars film, A Solo with Star Wars Story. By the way, full disclosure, I love these trailers.
Fantastic. I watched that thing 4 times during the Super Bowl. I stopped while it was on. In Canada, it was on like 3 times. I went and rewound it twice in front of 20 other people because it was my house. But it was great.
I watched it and I was super excited to see it. Obviously,
yep.
And I saw it. I said this on another show, but we get the American feed and the Canadian feed in Canada, and it used to be that both feeds played the amazing Canadian commercials.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently, that's changed. Now, I had no idea what channel the Super Bowl was on. Aaron put it on.
CBS?
No, I'm not saying that. It was on NBC.
CTV.
I knew what channel it was on. I didn't know what channel on my TV.
Channel 27.
I don't know
Cable
what
4.
channel Aaron had it set to. Channel 47, Cable 4.
47, that's it.
I didn't know what channel Aaron had it on. So I'm like, okay, second commercial break. We're getting Solo. And I'm sitting there. And I got the stupid computer set up with terrible audio, by the way. I have it all set up. And Aaron's like, I'll be in this. I'm like, cool. She's like, I need wine. She pours wine. I'm having like... And we're sitting there, and nothing happens. And then I get this message from one of our viewers. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you see it? And I said, see, no, stop. I said, stop. And then I'm like, and then I was like, I hate Canada. And then all of a sudden, I'm not even joking. I actually said to Aaron, I hate Canada. And then the next message I get is from Andrew Fantasia. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! That was amazing. And I said, you have less channels than anybody I know. How did you see this? He goes, it's on channel 17, which is NBC.
Yeah.
And I was like, Aaron, what channel do we have it on? And we had it on the Canadian feed.
Yeah.
So immediately I went, and then I got a notification from StarWars.com, and it's like, yeah, come around. So I immediately went on, and I watched it like 5 times. I was like, I can't get enough.
So good. I was so excited during the first time I watched it that when the Solo banner came up, I was like, oh my god, like to everyone watching behind me, and they're like, you just missed Chewbacca. I'm like, aw. Yeah, no, it was cool because our friend Marissa works at CTV, which is a news channel syndicate, whatever. In Canada, she works in the ingest, and she had like, oh, guess what I just ingested? The Han Solo teaser. And I'm like, oh my god, when are they airing it? Super Bowl, which isn't hugely, it was new. Everyone knew it was coming, but it was kind of neat. There's like, wow, like you watched it. It's like she didn't reveal anything, whatever. But like, that's kind of cool. I hope whenever we get more Star Wars trailers, it's through that, so we know when it's coming. We can confirm. But yeah, it's exciting. I loved everything about it. I also love, and I know I kept saying, it's like, no, not the Super Bowl, because it is true. I had to watch that teaser after everyone had left so I could actually hear the audio.
But that's what was genius about it, was that it was 45 seconds, which is super long.
Yep.
And yeah, there's talking in it, but that's not what's important in that trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it is afterwards, but it's the trailer the next day. It was the teaser for the teaser.
It's like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Solo. Just in case you didn't know, it's Solo. Because I know there were some people on my Facebook that I saw that were like, holy crap, there's a Solo. They were super excited. Like, Lando, Han, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, they were like listing things. They're like super excited for it. And I saw it, and I was like, he wants to be the best pilot in the galaxy. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was just like, everything about what I saw in the 45 seconds, I was super happy with. I wouldn't say I was over the moon because, look, like a month and a half ago, I said I think it was going to be the third best Star Wars film, so it's going to take a lot for me to be over the moon. But it was like right on par with what I was really expecting. And then I don't know when you saw the next one, but I woke up at like 8 a.m. the next day, not having to go to work. I just woke up on my own at 8 a.m. and I was like, okay, all right, solo. And then I set up because it sounded so terrible. That one, I set up my phone. I had a bunch of Pops Funkos like stacked, and I used it as a tripod. And that's so if you watch the my reaction, there's just me. It's the camera is on a Funko. It still doesn't look or sound that great. But so I didn't know if it was going to go on Good Morning America or not.
Yep.
It was because I tweeted it out, but I don't follow Good Morning America on Twitter. I should have. And then I just on YouTube typed in Solo Star Wars Story, and the Star Wars channel had two, and one was the big game teaser, and the other one was full teaser. And I was like, and I got really nervous for a minute, and then Aaron's like, "I'm working." Like I need a moment, and I was like, I got some water, some coffee.
Yep.
And I was so excited for that one. And what did you think of the full length one? And when did you watch it first?
Probably an hour after I got up. I think it took me a while to find it exactly. I think I found it through a link through a Star Wars Instagram feed that I follow. So I was like, oh, there we go. It heightened what the teaser did. I was like, wow, that is great. And it's one of those things you have to watch a bunch of times, obviously, because we love it. We scrutinize over every little thing. But I was just like, yes, everything about this, yes. There's something about, like, it doesn't have a specific color tone to it, per se. But there's something about, I feel like it's vibrant, color-wise. Maybe it's just, like, the way that Lando's, like, yellow shirt pops. And even what Kira wears when she's coming off that ship. And it's, like, she almost looks like an Imperial. Maybe it's a disguise, but she's like a red cape. There's just something about, even though there's a lot of blues and stuff like that, something about it was like, yes. It felt like the Old West, too. Like, because there's that train heist. You get a shot of, like, whoever the villain is, and Han's, like, going down for the blaster. And it's just like, and you just see that in the foreground of the shot. And you're like, this is going to be great. And the car chases, like, ugh. Remember, like, when you would watch the behind the scenes special features on like issue 4 of Star Wars New Hope is like, and then with the land speeder, this is what they did. We put Vaseline, we rubbed out that part, so it just looks like a shadow. Now it's like, look at what these like ships can do. I'm like, that looks cool. What were we talking about?
Top 5 solo trailers moments from the 2 spots is coming up at the end of the show. I can't wait. In 2 weeks from today, we're going to do another podcast on Solo, a Star Wars story. We're going to delve more into the EW article, talk about the posters some more. That is in 2 short weeks from now, unless, of course, more Star Wars news is dropped by then, which I would not put it past anybody. But the show is running long, so let's move on to...
Never tell me the odds. I did not read these.
That's okay. I haven't written them yet.
What?
I'm joking. The first odd. The odds of the Game of Thrones creators creating an Old Republic series for film.
Full Brock, I don't know. I really don't know.
We
I
spent
don't
an
know
hour
if I
talking
wanted
about it.
to. So 50-50.
I'm going to go full Brock as well because I feel like that is an easy answer. But it also makes sense. Full Brock.
Yep.
Second odd. Someone telling Solo. This is from Andrew Fantasia. By the way. Andrew Fantasia, shout out to you. You will never be canon.
You're the worst.
He actually is. I texted him earlier today to say that, and he says, I know. Someone telling Solo the odds, and his response being, never tell me the odds. In Solo, a Star Wars story. I'm going to go 71%.
I'm going to go 72%. Damn it.
And the third and final odd. The odd of the Obi-Wan Kenobi film, a.k.a. Old Ben Kenobi, actually happening. 77.
I'm going to be negative Nelly, go 33.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, though. I don't know. It's so up in the air, but I still think the fan service is a nice touch because look, I know people are like why fan service? And the one thing I didn't say earlier was sometimes you just have to thank the fans. And when you are a $1 billion franchise, billions of you like they've made the money back in purchasing Lucasfilm in 4 films alone without anything else. Even though toys aren't selling, but everything else. At some point you just have to say thank you.
Yeah.
And it's nice to say thank you and it's respectful for both sides and then so people will be like, okay, they because Last Jedi people are like, no, they don't know what we want, but then they can say, hey, we do. It's just let us try stuff and that. So that's what I'm going to go with that. All right, and you have some cool books and comics.
Let's do it. I have 3 comics this week. The new issue of Forces of Destiny, which is basically just one-offs by IDW. This week is Rose and Paige. It's a fun book. It's for kids, so it's not overly engaging. This one is by Delilah S. Dawson, who did the Phasma. Thank you. And the art looks like a Disney cartoon, so it's like I do like it. Kind of, it takes place on Dakar, and they're working together to like just set up a base. And like Paige is pushing Rose to be like, hey, you are smart, even though you're an engineer, like you can build things. So it's really pushing the idea of like believing in yourself. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely great for kids. Also young girls, because that's the whole point of the Forces of Destiny moniker. Star Wars DJ Most Wanted, which is by Acker and Blacker, who did that's not their full names, but that did the Winds of Crate, Dust of Crate. I don't know. Focusing specifically on DJ and hustling the casinos on Kento Bites. Art was fun. Story was interesting. Again, it falls under the part of like we can't do a lot because it might reveal things that will ruin things. Who knows? We may never see this character again. I would love to know more. It doesn't reveal his real name, so don't expect any answers on that. Pick it up though if you're like, I need to know more about the Last Jedi stuff. Poe Dameron issue number 23 basically wraps up the story of them on Nemodia, trying to get Lars Santeca out. Artwork spot on by Angel Unzueta and Charles Soule, killing it story-wise. This is it's great. Agent Terex is able to get out of his mind control programming by shocking himself, and he captures Lars Santeca, and now he's like, hello, Phasma, I have something you want. So we're definitely getting more Lars Santeca. We're not getting why he's important yet, even though we know in the movie, but like the whole mission of this book was like, go get him, and now they still can't get him. So definitely worth it. Poe Dameron, best book on the shelves. Let's go. Top 5.
We've been hyping it all show. It's our top 5.
Top 5. We like Han Solo. What do you think about that?
It's great.
Boom.
Top 5 moments from the 2 teasers that dropped. Brock, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is the villain. Who is he? That looks cool. Is that what's his face? Vision? Or is it what's his face? Omar? Michael K. Richards?
No, he's not in it anymore.
No, I know, but like, didn't they use something? Anyways,
I don't know. My number 5. Ready? You're supposed to do it.
Oh,
come on, man. It's Lando and the droid.
It only works when we're both profile.
Lando, well, your profile to me. Lando and the droid.
Lando and the droid.
That's my number 5. My number 4, Han under the Falcon with that big fur coat and the nice smoky skies. And you're like, he's looking at the Falcon like, you're gonna be mine one day, kid.
Yep. That was that's an honorable mention for me, but that was like in the teaser. I was like, ooh, yeah. My number 4 was. Why do I always forget what one of them is?
It's only 2 minutes.
You go number 4 first.
I did number 4.
What was your number?
Han under the Falcon with the fur coat.
Oh, and the Lando thing.
That's number 5. Yeah.
I'll just skip my number 4, which was actually my number 3. Is the part where Kira says to Han Solo, is like, nobody seems to know who you are, but I do. Or what you are. And I do. And he's like, oh, really? What am I? And then he kind of does like a gulp.
Yeah.
Like, this is the guy that was like, oh, he does an Ace Ventura. I'm like, I'm not saying that the whole movie is like, oh, Oscar worthy, but like that right there, I love it.
Fantastic.
I love that little part there.
Fantastic. Very, very Han Solo of him. What's your number 3?
That.
My number 3. You think of yours while I do
yeah.
it. My number 3, I'm going to say very slowly, is at the end of the teaser. Brock missed this moment when Chewie puts his arm on Han.
Yeah.
And you're like, the beginning.
Boom. They're friends. Crap. Chewbacca has a cool different bandolier. That's my number 4. But it's number 3 now. I was like, they're both of them.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Lando Calrissian because I have a man crush on Donald Glover. But just everything about like this, I know that's what he does in them, but just that look of that shot is just amazing. Like it just. Yeah, like a droid and a person having that. I'm sure we've seen it, but there's just something about it. It's like, yeah. And then his wardrobe, that yellow shirt, it's like, bam, bam.
Your number 2? Oh wait, that was your number 2.
That was
my
my
number
number
2, the pod car chase. Yeah, love it. Han wants to be the best pilot in the galaxy. He is the best race car driver in the galaxy. If you have not seen American Graffiti, you need to see it because Harrison Ford is the second best race car driver in that movie. What does that have to do with anything? I don't know, but American Graffiti is a fantastic film.
Exactly. I remember what my number 3 or number 4, number 3 is. I've been on the streets. I'm on the streets since 10, ripping off that whatever the actual line is. I'm like, yes, boom,
so good.
One line describes
Kasdan.
Boom.
Kasdan, that's what I believe it was. And number 1.
Number 1.
We both have the same number 1. So, I don't know. We can't do it at the same time because it's awkward. So, I'll say the last 2 words.
I only have 2 words.
What?
The chase through the tentacle monster.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
Looked like we were in trouble there for a second. But we're fine.
And
Great.
just like, it's just fun. It's like, oh, good. Oh, we almost got out of it. Well, we're fine. That was good. That was good. Bam! So,
yeah. And he knocks out a TIE fighter with the Falcon. Like, he spins and knocks it.
Yeah.
That sequence was amazing. I saw that in the trailer and the first time, and I was like, that's my Han Solo. I am on board with him as Han Solo. I cannot wait for May 25th, Memorial Day in the United States of America. It is the weekend after Victoria Day here in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Victoria Day. Queen Victoria. I know that the British people are very proud of us. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to see it on the 24th or something like that. I can't wait for it. You obviously are looking forward to it.
I'm super psyched.
I was going to bring a bag of Kool-Aid, of Han Solo Kool-Aid, and just...
And then I drink it?
I was going to bathe in it.
You're like, I don't need the water, just give me the powder.
Yeah, it'd be like Fun Dip. Remember Fun Dip? You have the sugar stick.
Oh, it's still around.
Is it?
Yeah.
You would know. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. This has been our 80th episode. I can't believe it's been 80 weeks. Like, that's
we
insane.
Can retire.
We are going to retire next week. 80 episodes in the bag. Thank you so very much for letting us be a part of your day.
Thank you.
Welcoming us into your phones, into your computers, into your homes, cars, wherever. It really does mean a lot to both of us to spend time with you, talk Star Wars with you. And we look forward to coming back next week with episode 81.
Well.
Yeah. All right, Brock. You were always scum.
Rebel scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.